Just in time for Democrats to take control of the House, they're weighing the risks of pushing Medicare for all. It's popular with many liberal Dems and voters, but not so much with the swing states. Joining me now is Trump 2020 campaign advisor, board member Madison Gesiotto, and Democratic strategist Nathan Rubin. Madison Gesiotto, what do you think?
So I think,
I think even among Democrats
Madison,
looking forward even among Democrats, I don't think they're going to be able to obtain the support they would need to pass Medicare for all. And when we look at the Medicare for all plan that Bernie Sanders proposed, it's going to cost us, I think, over $32 trillion is what they're estimating over 10 years. He proposed a tax hike that wouldn't even pay for half of this $32 trillion. It's not going to work, and they're not going to be able to pass it. It's too expensive.
Well, also, he is suggesting that we eliminate patent protection on medication, which would minimize risk and future development of new medications, right?
Yeah, it would. I mean, there's a lot of things that Bernie Sanders and others who support this Medicare for All plan have proposed that people across this country will not support. And when it comes to looking at the congressmen who are going to have to pass this, they recognize that they need the support of their constituents to win elections. And if they do something like this, a lot of people are going to lose elections looking forward to 2020, 2022. And of course, everybody and their brother in the Democratic Party wants to run for president right now. And so a lot of them are looking forward to 2020 and making sure that they have a broad support. And a lot of them are going to have to go more towards the center in order to win not only their party potentially, but if they want to go up against President Trump.
Well, I fundamentally disagree there. I think Democrats should absolutely be pushing Medicare for all. Democrats had their best night since Watergate in this latest election. They won over 40 seats. This is a popular issue, especially among their base. When you talk about running for 2020, this probably will be a litmus test. First of all, it is popular amongst the American people. A vast majority of the American people, over 70%, support the idea of a single-payer system. This value that you shouldn't go broke if you get sick, you shouldn't have to go bankrupt to pay for healthcare coverage, is really starting to resonate, and any Democratic candidate that's going to run for president should pick up that mantle.
I think that's a great view, but I think what many people worry about is, do we have the capacity to deliver this? Are people going to be waiting on lines? Are we going to be running out of medications? The view of it is wonderful. We all get health care, but the practicality of it is what worries me.
Well, it's not like this system hasn't been in place in other countries. It sounds like a utopia, but this system actually exists, and it works in places like Canada and places like the EU and the UK. It's not something that is pie in the sky. We see it work in practicality. We're the richest country on the face of the earth. We should be implementing a policy like this because everybody gets sick, John. You get sick, I get sick, my mom gets sick. We need to protect our people.
We also hear horror stories from those countries. We also hear about debt for America.
It doesn't work.
Right? So, Madison, what's wrong with Nathan's argument?
It doesn't work. I know people from Canada that come to the United States for surgeries and healthcare because of the long waits that they have in their country as a result of the system that they have. Yeah, it sounds great in theory. Free healthcare, free college, free this, free that, but we cannot afford to pay for it. I just put a figure out there. There's many other figures similar to the one that I put out, of course, coming out in AP from an independent organization. There's been libertarian organizations that did similar studies and came out with similar numbers. They cannot afford what they're proposing, even with their tax hikes, which of course would be historic tax hikes. We are already overtaxed. We don't want to be taxed more. Middle-class people in this country cannot afford to be taxed more. Nobody in this country wants to be taxed more, especially when we're looking at a number like $33 trillion over 10 years. It's insane, and it's not going to work.
We can get exceptionally creative in the way that we fund this program. First of all, I think we should legalize marijuana. That would add billions of dollars to this economy. We should look at the fossil fuel polluters who are ruining our environment. Maybe
where are you going to get over $16 trillion additional dollars? You're not getting it from marijuana.
The American people with the opioid epidemic.
The revenue of marijuana doesn't come close from a tax-based standpoint.
We're looking at a $16 trillion difference with their incredible tax hike. Where are you getting the $16 trillion?
Why do we always have money for endless wars and for endless tax cuts, but when it comes to taking care of our people,
your argument is ridiculous. Tell me where you're getting the $16 trillion extra dollars.
I love things that would benefit us all. Where do we find the $16 trillion?
Like I said, we got to get creative with where that money comes from, but I think we can do it. When we set our mind to do something, we can do anything in this country.
But you have no plan as to how you would do it, and neither do the Democrats.
I'm worried that somebody's got their eye on our pockets, Madison. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they've already overtaxed us. They spend too much of our money. We look at not even just Democrats, many Republicans for many years have been spending our money irresponsibly. We need to cut the waste, fraud, and abuse, but we don't need more taxes. We need less taxes and we need less government. The last thing we need is more government. I mean, look at how inefficient the government is in so many other areas. I don't trust them with this, just like I don't trust them to take care of many of the things they're already taking care of. We need to cut it down, not build it up.
Government absolutely has a role to play, and they can do a lot of good, benefiting society. That's why they're there. The private market will just end up ripping people off and exploiting working people.
The government certainly has the ability.
And you think the government's going to handle it better?
The question is, how much can they handle? And when they handle too much, what good does come out of it? This is a hot topic, and it's going to be a very hot topic in 2020. I'm guessing we're not going to decide it here today. The American people are going to decide it in the next election.
Yep.
Thank you, Madison. Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you.
Coming up, a potential no-deal Brexit has British